Greetings, Wild fans. I'm back here again with yet another Central Division NHL 2017-18 season preview, and this is for the Minnesota Wild. And I just want to thank everyone for always coming back, liking, commenting my videos. It means a lot. And I have the Wild finishing second in the Central. I debated on this for a long time because I had them like fourth, and I thought that was too low. Because they always do good in the regular season, and then they do so-so in the playoffs. So I decided on second, which is pretty good. This division and the Metro are two of the hardest to call, in my opinion. I like the physical play that Jason Zucker brings to the lineup. He impressed me last season. The Wild can roll four lines, and every line can hurt you in some way, shape, or form. In a good way. Every line is good for the Wild. They lack a physical team, and that could be a problem when the playoffs come around. They're very skilled, but not very big. So, if they go against a team like Anaheim, they might get run over. The blue line is still intact because they gave up Alex Tuch to Vegas. Thank you, Alex Tuch, for keeping this Wild team intact. One of the best top forwards in Central Division with Suter, Spurgeon, Dumba, and Brodin. Love that top four. I think Eric Staal overachieved last season and will dip down a little bit in his point production. In net, if Dubnyk stays healthy, this team is a legit contender to win the Cup this year, in my opinion. I strongly believe that. I love Minnesota's depth at center and on the wings, and it could really help them in the playoffs. I think Parise is also going to decline a little bit this year because he's getting up there in age, and he only signed like a 13-year, $98 million contract. He's only stuck with it until he's like 40. Also, on a side note, the Wild signed Matt Cullen a few weeks ago. I love that depth signing at center. He can fill in whenever he needs to. If Minnesota did not falter last month of the season, they might have made it farther than they did in the playoffs. And last season they had 106 points. Great season for this roster. They might dip down. I think they're going to get in like the high 90s, I think, this year. At the deadline during the offseason, I would like to see them make a depth signing or a trade so they feel a little more secure. Although they are a little more secure. I like how Bruce Boudreau coached his team last year. I like the style of play he brought into Minnesota. And I know he has a bad coaching record in the playoffs, but I think that might change this year. Now let's take a look at this Wild lineup. Your first on left wing is a physical two-way forward in Jason Zucker, and I think he is capable of 20 to 25 goals, and he will get set up a lot by Koivu and Granlund, and Zucker is in a contract year. I think he wants somewhere in the range of 2 to 3 mil. He's making 2 mil right now, so it's not a big increase. I think he just wants a few years at 2, 3 mil, maybe 4, depending on how the market is. I love the style of play that your captain Mikko Koivu brings to this lineup, and that I think he is an excellent playmaker. Like Ryan Getzlaf, he doesn't have the same body as Getzlaf, but they play the same pretty much. And he is capable of scoring around 20 goals and like 40 assists. Also, he's a UFA after the season, and I think he comes back for like 2 more years, making around $6 million. He's making 6.275 right now, so it's not a big increase from what he's making right now. I love how much of a warrior Mikael Granlund is for his organization. Last year, he was a great player for the Wild in the playoffs, and he scored 26 goals and 43 assists for 69 points. And he is an excellent two-way forward on that line, and this is a formidable first line in the West. It's as good as any. Now let's move on to an underrated second line. Your second line left wing is Nino Niederreiter, and he is a solid goal scorer on that line, and he just signed his 5-year, $5.25 mil per year contract. And last year he scored 25 goals and 32 assists. He is a consistent 20 goal scorer, and is great 5-on-5 and on power play. Your second line center is a good playmaker and reliable defensively. And last year he scored 28 goals and 37 assists. I think he will get a lot of assists this year playing a line with Niederreiter and Parise and Eric Stahl. Also, as I previously stated, he overachieved last year, and I'm predicting a dip with like 20 goals and 30 assists. That would be still a good season from Eric Stahl. Zach Parise has been a good forward for the Wild ever since he was signed out of New Jersey, and he is a reliable two-way forward with good offensive upside. Last year he had 19 goals and 23 assists. I could see him getting 20-25 goals this year and like 20 assists. He would be a very good player on the power play. On June 30th, 2017, the Wild traded to Buffalo Marco Scandella and Jason Palmville in a 2018 fourth-round pick, and back to Minnesota Tyler Ennis, Marcus Foligno, a 2018 third-round pick. I like the trade for Minnesota. They get rid of their two of their veterans and take off some cap, and acquired some third and fourth line depth for two players, and they gave up little or nothing to get it. Tyler Ennis was acquired from Buffalo, and when healthy, he is a reliable 15-20 goal scorer and is a good playmaker. Last year he scored 5 goals and 8 assists, and in the last 2 seasons combined, he's only played 74 games, which is a big risk for me because he needs to stay healthy. If he stays healthy, he'll be a heck of a third or fourth line forward. Charlie Coyle, who is always the laughingstock of the Brent Burns trade, but he is a damn good third line center and could play second line center if Stahl has a bad year. Coyle is always reliable 5-on-5 and defensively, and can occasionally chip in on the power play, and he always goes to dirty areas. I like the play of Charlie Coyle a lot, and I saw it in the playoffs last year, and I really made me a fan of his. Chris Stewart is in the final year of his contract, and I'm not sure if he comes back to the Wild next year. He's a gritty player that plays physically and is not afraid to fight, and is a good penalty killer. Last year he scored 13 goals, 8 assists. I believe he'll probably come in with the same amount of points this year. He's a good player. Marcus Foligno was acquired in the trade from Buffalo. Is another depth forward that can be relied upon defensively. Marcus Foligno, who's an RFA, still needs a contract to this day, but I believe he'll get it done at some point. If not, they could put Matt Cullen in that spot if he doesn't get a contract. I don't know where to put Matt Cullen in his lineup, so he's like an asterisk for me. Your fourth line center is Joel Eriksson-Ek. He is going to be in his rookie season this year. I like his playmaking abilities he brings to this line. He is a wild card, and he is an unknown because he got bounced around all different leagues and didn't stay in one league. They didn't stay long in any one league, but he made an impact in each one. I think he could be a dark horse for Calder this year. I think he's going to have a heck of a year this year. Luke, I am not your father, Cunnin, who will also be playing his first full rookie season, in my opinion. That's where I see him on the depth chart. He has a good shot and is a goal scorer. I saw him play for USA in the 2016 World Juniors when they won gold. He had 2 nice one-timer goals and just looked like a speedy, dominant forward out there. Ryan Suter, who is a reliable defensive defenseman and has a hard shot on the power play, and last year he scored 9 goals and 31 assists. He can allow his defense partner to get involved into the rush and take more risks and not hurt his team. The only thing that hurts his team is his and Zach Parise's ridiculous 13-year contracts that have no movement clauses, so Minnesota is stuck with them until like 2023, 2024. Jared Spurgeon, who has great hands and great offensive potential, is able to join the rush and play well on the power play. He reminds me of Shane Gotts's-Spear from Philadelphia. Just the way that he's always lurking around the power play, and teams have to prepare for him on the power play because he has a good shot and he can make them pay. And last year, Spurgeon scored 10 goals and 28 assists, and I think he can get upwards of 15 goals this year and 30-35 assists. I think he's have a really good year this year. Jonas Brodin is a reliable two-way defenseman that can play well in the penalty kill, and last year he scored 3 goals and 22 assists. I believe he will get around the same amount of points this year. Much like Ryan Suter, he will play a little more defensively and lets his defense partner Dumba jump up. Matt Dumba, who could have went to Vegas, but Chuck Fletcher, Minnesota's GM, traded Alex Tuck to keep this formidable blue line intact, and Dumba, much like Jonas Brodin, is a good two-way defenseman, but more offensive upside, in my opinion, than Brodin. Last year, Dumba scored 11 goals and 23 assists. He is a good quarterback on the second power play unit and can be relied upon on the penalty kill, and he is in the final year of his contract, and Minnesota wants to keep him. He's a really good player, and I can imagine he wants somewhere from 5 to 6 years, $5-6 million per year. That would be a really good contract for him. Your fifth defenseman is Kyle Quincy, who in his career has always bounced around from team to team, and he is a solid defensive defenseman. And last year he scored 6 goals and 9 assists, and he's on a 1-year, $1.125 million contract. And I believe he's just a spot filler on this team until next year when one of their defensive prospects is ready. Now your last defenseman is Mike Riley, who last year in the AHL, in 57 games for the Iowa Wild, he had 5 goals and 25 assists. He just seems like an all-around reliable defenseman. Now we move on to the goaltending. They traded Darcy Kemper in the offseason to the Los Angeles Kings, and that hurt their backup a little bit, I think. Now we move on to Devin Dubnyk, who has made a resurgence in his career. He was a castaway in Edmonton and floated around from team to team, and now he is an elite-level goalie who was considered a bust at one point in his career, and I believe he needs to have a 920 save percentage or higher and have a Vezina-type season if Minnesota wants to go far in the playoffs. Last year he was solid between the pipes, and he had a .923 save percentage and 2.25 GA, and like I said, he needs to have another season the Wild will be contenders. And last, we move on to the backup goaltending, where the Wild got weaker when they traded Kemper and replaced him with Alex Stalock, who in the AHL for the Iowa Wild had a .926 save percentage and 2.28 goals against. He looks like he has good potential to be a solid backup in Minnesota. So, that is all, guys. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe and ding on the notification bell. And I think I'm going to do the Jets tomorrow. So watch out for that video tomorrow. So thank you for watching, and goodbye.